What'd they bust you with that led to the Fed case?
320 pounds of cocaine.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It was
Were they already on you or just?
Nah, fluke, bro. It was a what are them, like a speed trap. So I just
Oh shit.
I just got out of, we came from Nevada or Reno, and on the border there's of Utah and Nevada, there's a place, so there's like a little tiny town or a little section or whatever, and there's casinos or hotels. Well, that's where we stayed. So when the cop pulled me out of the car and was like, "Where are you guys coming from?" I said, "Oh, we stayed at the Hilton over here," whatever the fuck it was. And he goes, "All right." So then he goes to my passenger and he's like, "Hey, where are you guys coming from?" Such and such. "Where'd you guys stay?" "Right there at the borderline." And he says, "The borderline?" He said, "You guys stayed at the Hilton." And he said, "We did stay at the Hilton." He said, "Well, you just said you stayed at the borderline." He said, "On the borderline of Utah and Reno." He said, nah. You just said you stayed, because there's a fucking motel called the Borderline at that fucking place. So this fool was like, he's like, "Nah, you guys' stories ain't matching up." I'm like, "Dog, what the fuck? Why didn't you just tell this motherfucker we was at the Hilton? What the fuck's with this Borderline shit?" But he was like, he ended up, like, bro, it's crazy because the whole traffic stop was on video and audio. But the only part that's not clear is when he asked him if he could search the car. He was like, "Hey, you mind if I search the car? You know, I don't think your guys' stories adds up." And then it was like, because the cop came back to me and was like, "Hey, man, your passenger just said that I could search the car. Is there anything in the car that's yours?" I said, "Yeah, the black bag right there is mine." So he grabbed a back bag, was rifling through it, grabbed his bag, was rifling through it, popped the trunk, and there was the fucking mother load.
And see, people don't realize, like, they can't search the car legally
Dog,
without permission.
Listen, this fool gave me a warning for speeding before I got out of the cop, because he pulled me out of the car, had me sitting in the car with him, and at some point, after 30 minutes in that vehicle, he said, "Here, I'm just going to give you a warning for speeding, and you're good to go." The traffic stop's over. He can't do nothing after that.
Yeah, everything after that is all...
Everything after that is illegal. So essentially, with that comment and being on video, the fool saved my life. Because technically, after... See, they got to... and this is where knowing your traffic laws comes in. There's a thing called a consensual stop. So after... and it's like a little manipulative thing, because you won't think about it. These fools tell you, "Okay, you're good to go." And then they turn and you say, "Can I ask you one more question?" And you turn around and say, "Yeah, what's up?" You just gave them the consent to continue on with the rest of the traffic
stop. It was done, yeah.
So up until that point, if they don't ask for consent, it's the traffic stop's over. Bruh, have you ever heard of Tony Serra?
No.
He's a big time attorney in the Bay Area, bro. One of the biggest. I mean, this fool, he's a genius. He reminded, when you was talking about how like certain factions have attorneys and shit in the family, he reminds me of that. Like, okay. I watched this fool get fight a biker dude's RICO trial, or not RICO, but the feds raided this fool's house, found a laboratory in his house. Bro, this fool beat the charges. This attorney beat the charges, says, "How do I know you guys didn't bring that in there? There's not one fingerprint." He's just this attorney was a genius, bro. But this fool came out. I hired him and a dude named Randy Darr, and they flew out. And you know, after they got the paperwork and everything, they're going through it. They wrote up a rough motion to suppress draft, because the feds wanted to give me 20 years first, and then they wrote up that motion to suppress the evidence, gave it to them, and they was like, "Well, we'll give him 10 years." And I was like, "All right, I'll take the 10 years. I got the little 10-year thing, and there was some faulty shit in there. So I was like, I'm not going to take this deal. So I ended up getting 12 and a half. But Tony was like, "Bro, we're going to beat this case. After this dude gave you the warning for speeding and said you're good to go," which was on video. It ain't like it's me going into the court system trying to say, "This cop didn't tell me I was good to go." or this cop told me I was good to go, and the cop saying, no, I didn't. There wasn't going to be no argument. It was cut and dry. You know what I mean? But so I had both of the attorneys come visit me at the same time, and Tony was more like energetic, hyped up about it. This was like, Tony told me, he goes, this is what we live for. My whole office is buzzing right now. Like all of their little legal people, they was excited, dog. They was like, man, this is going to be a big deal. Who the fuck is going to be able to beat or get 300 pounds of cocaine thrown out over a discrepancy, like a traffic law discrepancy. So, and they're giving me all this paperwork to read, and the paperwork is all like cases that are similar to mine, but none of them compared to how cut and dry my shit was, bro. So now I'm hyped up. I'm ready to fight. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're gonna beat this. The very next week, my attorney comes up by himself, Randy Darr, the other attorney, and he's like, Matty, listen, I want to play devil's advocate here. I know that Tony was in here and Tony was hyped up. He goes, but I personally don't think that there's going to be any judge in the United States that's going to want his name in the newspaper tomorrow saying that he threw out 300 pounds of cocaine because of a traffic law discrepancy. He goes, I just don't see it happening. Even though it's illegal what this cop did, he goes, I don't want to gamble on your life. He goes, I've known you your whole life, man. I remember you running into the courtrooms with us at this age. And he goes, believe me, this is like what I live for. This is why I became an attorney, but I don't want to gamble with your life. And he's like, and what I think will happen is I think the judge is just going to blow it over. He's not going to grant the motion to suppress, even though he should. And he's going to let it happen in the appellate process. And he goes, and how long is that going to take? You're going to end up in the pen, and what's going to happen? You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, man. So I was like, yeah, I'll take that 12 and a half years because I don't want to gamble with my life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, there's so many technicalities, and I've seen where they isolate dudes to where you can't like make it hard for you to talk to your attorney, so they assuming that they can pressure you into a deal. And then like there are certain people like, you know, once you get to the feds, I've seen guys who have gotten lives off or who have beat like the 20s because they didn't take the deal, but they realized that they had violations on their charges. So it's crazy. The feds play totally different games. I mean, it's a lot of psychological.
Oh, dude.
It's just, it's a lot of your character because they would have ran your whole family, put this out there. Like, look, just look at the P. Diddy thing. Freak-offs ain't got nothing to do with the case, but they keep talking about freak-offs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a lot of other things as far as once, if you decide to go to trial, that to use the public's opinion to kind of put you into a bad light, to prosecute you without you even being prosecuted yet.
Of course.
Yeah.
They use that shit these days, bro. The majority of the time, big cases like that, you're convicted or not convicted before you even get to trial.
Yeah.
Because it's just, they use the public to help their situation. It's weird, but the feds are crazy, bro. Them fools don't play, and they use their little scare tactics on we're going to give you 800 years if you don't take this. And that's why their success rate is so extravagant, because motherfuckers ain't trying to take it to the box, because you hear about them stories. Man, I had a Hispanic guy, barely spoke any English. They told this dude, we'll give you 5 years. And he was like, all right, yeah, I'll take the 5 years. Goes into the courtroom, and he's like, man, the judge asked me, did they force you into doing this? Did anybody try to talk you into this? And he goes, and at this time he could speak better English. He's like, Matt, these guys the judge keeps like beating this on me. So now I'm thinking, man, should I not take this? Are you trying to tell me that I shouldn't do this? So then he's like, well, I don't know. And then the judge was like, well, if you don't know, I'm going to take it off you're not going to be offered it no more. They ended up giving this fool like 60 years, bro, because he didn't understand. You know what I mean? It was like for the first time in my life, I was like, these crooked people do not even care that this dude just changed his mind because he didn't realize that's a part of the court process. They want to make sure nobody influenced your decision, whatever. It's just common things that they ask before you get sentenced. And this fool got 60 years, bro.
You know what I've seen that's crazy in the feds is like when you have somebody that does have success, you notice that when he's going back and forth in the bullpens, you can't really get around those people. Because I remember there was a dude in the bullpen who had a case just like mine, and he's like, I'm like, hey man, where you just get, what's up? He's like, oh man, I have to beat this right here for, they said aiding and abetting, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at it, I said, damn, this is like my shit. And on the case, it was stamped non-published. So it wasn't gonna ever go in a book. So I'm like, dude, let me write down this case number real quick. So I wrote it down. I got a pen or something from somebody or a piece of paper, and I wrote it down. I went back and then I showed my public pretender. And they were like, where'd you get this from? I said, the guy, he said, you can't use this, it's non-published. I said, what does that mean? It's a ruling. And I used that case, because I was looking at 12, and I used that case to knock 2 years off my sentence. And then the judge asked me, do you have anything else you would like to add to that? And my attorney, like, she's looking hella mad. The prosecutor's like, man, he was supposed to just take the deal. I'm like, damn, man, I don't have no more ammo, though. You know what I mean? But I know there's stuff out there.
That judge was asking you if you had any more ammo, man.
I was out, bro. I shot my little bullets, man, and I was done.
That's
and
why you need to be informed, bro.
Well, and the thing is, as soon as I found that out, they moved me to a place where they had no law library. Because, you start talking to these guys who are sharp, like these big cases, and they're doing some work and stuff, and you start, hey, man, like, can you show me how to, and I was learning. But once they shot me out to this other spot, I was done. There's no, you know what I mean? I have no resource. So it's a lot of that even going on where if you are around somebody, or if there's a really smart dude who's helping people, dude, they'll shoot him up out of there. Like they find out who he's talking to in the unit. Like if he's talking to you, talking to me, get him up out. He's helping people.
Yeah.
They don't like that.
Hell no, they don't. Our being there is their livelihood, bro. But they don't like anybody that could help other people or start informing them. They don't want people to be smarter criminals. God, it's horrible what they do. They take advantage of the ignorance. And it's like after that situation, bro, I thought, like, how many people with the language barrier have been through the same thing to where they just didn't understand what the hell the person was telling them. Yeah. And before you know it, instead of taking this little 7-year plea or whatever they had him at first, now this fool is getting 25 years, 30 years or something. The corruption is on such a large scale, bro. It's sickening.